What happens when the person nominated to be America's top cop, the Attorney General, is caught in a storm of tough questions, dodged answers, and accusations of bending the truth? In one of the most intense confirmation hearings in recent memory, Pamela Bondi faced Senator Alex Padilla in a fiery exchange that touched on everything from the 2020 election big lie to constitutional rights, immigration rhetoric, reproductive freedoms, and gun violence. But instead of straightforward answers, viewers saw hesitation, deflection, and moments that left the room buzzing. Was this a test of legal expertise or a public trial of trust and integrity?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I begin, I just want to remind us all for the record that the 34 convictions, not indictments, convictions of former President, incoming President Trump were by a jury of his peers. Thank you, Ms. Bondi, for being here today, and I too would like to welcome your family and friends who are here.
Thank you.
Appreciated the opportunity to meet yesterday to learn about your priorities and discuss a number of issues that are important to me. But I got to tell you, as I reflected on our conversation yesterday and as I've observed the hearing today, I continue to have significant reservations on your ability to function as a truly independent Attorney General for your friend. Let's say you keep referring to him, your friend, President-elect Trump. So I hope you can address some of these concerns through your responses to my questions here. Now, the first issue area is something that we didn't get a chance to touch on yesterday. So I actually want to follow up on some of Senator Durbin's questions from earlier about the 2020 election. And to be specific, on the day after the 2020 presidential general election, you traveled to Philadelphia to appear alongside President Trump's then attorney, Rudy Giuliani. And together, you falsely asserted that President Trump had, quote, won Pennsylvania in that election. Now, I want to be clear, at that moment, there were still at least 1 million ballots left to be counted in Pennsylvania. Of course, President Biden went on to win the state by more than 80,000 votes. But in the following days, even after the results were clear, you continued to double down on the big lie, promoting falsehoods about election fraud and cheating without offering any actual evidence. And I remember it clearly because I served as California Secretary of State at the time, and I invited anybody associated with the Trump campaign who was making these claims to come forward with evidence of irregularities in the election or massive voter fraud. 4 years later, I still have seen none. So I ask you today, do you have any evidence of election fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So, First Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First Senator.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
First Senator. I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I appreciate that, but my clock is ticking and I want to hear your
all of our
answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question. Do you have evidence, yes or no?
Senator, I was hoping you'd ask the question.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
I traveled to Pennsylvania.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
I traveled, Senator, to Pennsylvania.
Okay. You're not answering my question. If you have no evidence to offer, let me ask you this. Will you now retract your previous statements that Trump won Pennsylvania in the 2020 election, yes or no?
Oh, Senator, I traveled to Pennsylvania, and let me tell you what I saw firsthand.
Yes or
no? I didn't talk about California because I was not in California. I talked about...
Yes or no? Last time I'm going to ask.
I talked about Pennsylvania because I was there.
I'm going to move on because she's clearly not answering my questions. And I want to know, colleagues, for everybody, members of the committee and everybody watching, that the attorney who stood beside Mr. Giuliani was making very similar statements. And he has since been disbarred from multiple jurisdictions for making these false claims about the 2020 election in court. And like Mr. Giuliani, as you've noted today, you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution just as an attorney. And now you're asking us to consider you to serve as the chief law enforcement officer in our country. So it's imperative Ms. Bondi, that you subscribe to facts and evidence and not politically convenient conspiracy theories. Your job will be, I'm speaking, your job will be to protect voters and election workers, not to undermine and dox them. Now, I know that earlier you agreed that Joe Biden is in fact president, but many of the president-elect's inner circle continue to spread the big lie about the 2020 election. Then we'll move on to a different topic. I know
Senator,
that's one
you were
that you're obviously
speaking.
not comfortable
May
with.
I speak? You
When
cut
I
me
ask
off
you the
when I
next
was
question, you
speaking.
can speak, and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi.
Well, I'd
now,
like
when
to
we met
answer the
yesterday,
previous one, Senator.
when we met yesterday,
You pointed your finger at me and
you
said
did not
you were
seem
speaking.
to be familiar
Let me answer
with
my question.
the
I'm not going to be
citizenship
bullied by you,
clause, the
Senator
14th
Padilla.
Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
I guess you
And I'm
didn't want to
hoping you're
hear
more
my
familiar
answer
with it
about
today
Pennsylvania.
after I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me and this committee what the citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am confirmed
No,
as
you're
Attorney
the one
General.
asking for a confirmation
Hey,
vote,
you
ma'am.
cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, the 14th Amendment, we all know, addresses birthright citizenship. I've been a state prosecutor. I've been a state AG. I look forward to, even given your remarks today, working with you and the people of California if I am confirmed as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America. I didn't take your homework assignment. I'm sorry. I was preparing for today.
So on the 14th Amendment, now you've testified repeatedly to this committee that you will uphold the laws of this country and defend the Constitution of the United States. Do you believe birthright citizenship is the law of the land, and will you defend it regardless of a child born in the United States, regardless of their parents' immigration status?
Senator, I will study birthright citizenship. I would love to meet with you regarding
Ma'am, you're
birthright
asking
citizenship.
us to
Can I
continue
answer
to
the
serve as the
question?
Attorney General of the United States, and you still need to study the 14th Amendment of the Constitution? That is not helping me have more confidence in your ability to do this job. One other immigration-related question, I'll steer clear of the
I have
Constitution
one
and the
regarding
law.
that I'd like to
Senator
talk about.
Hirona asked you earlier, but I don't think you answered her question. Can you please tell us, do you agree with the statement that immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, yes or no?
I did not say that.
I did not say that you said that. I'm asking if you agree with it, yes or no?
I did not say that.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
Senator, my great-grandparents are immigrants.
Do you agree with it,
They
yes or no?
came here from Sicily
Do you agree
through
with it,
Ellis
yes or
Island
no?
when they were teenagers.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
Senator, let me answer the question.
Yes or no? It's
My
real simple.
great-grandparents came here, immigrated to this country from Sicily, recently went and found each of their birth certificates. We are a nation made up of immigrants. Do I believe immigrants are poisoning our country? No, Senator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I can't wait for the second round.
Same, Senator. Thank you. No, sir. Thank you.
The stage was set in Washington, where the Senate Judiciary Committee gathered to decide if Pamela Bondi should become the 87th Attorney General of the United States. The position carries enormous power, the power to prosecute federal crimes, defend the Constitution, and keep politics out of justice. But Bondi's longtime friendship with President-elect Donald Trump hung over the room like a shadow. The stakes were already high. Then came the questioning that would turn this into a political spectacle. Padilla wasted no time. He reminded the room that Trump had been convicted on 34 counts by a jury of his peers, underlining that these were convictions, not mere indictments. It was a calculated move, anchoring the conversation in an unshakable fact before turning to one of the most controversial episodes in Bondi's political career. The day after the 2020 election, Bondi had traveled to Philadelphia with Rudy Giuliani, where they declared, without evidence, that Trump had won Pennsylvania. At the time, over 1 million ballots were still uncounted. Weeks later, Biden would win the state by more than 80,000 votes. Padilla's question was direct, stripped of nuance. Did she have any evidence of widespread election fraud in 2020, yes or no? But instead of answering, Bondi shifted to expressing sympathy for wildfire victims in California. Padilla tried again. Still no answer. This wasn't just a missed opportunity, it was a glaring example of evasion in the face of a simple query. And when asked if she would retract her earlier claim that Trump had won Pennsylvania, Bondi again sidestepped. For Padilla and for many watching, this raised a serious concern. If the nation's chief law enforcement officer can't affirm the legitimacy of a certified election, what does that say about her commitment to truth and the rule of law? The exchange was even more striking given the consequences faced by others who made similar false claims. Giuliani, who had stood beside Bondi in Philadelphia, has since been disbarred in multiple jurisdictions. Padilla was making a clear comparison: a discredited lawyer punished for pushing falsehoods, and a nominee for Attorney General who once echoed those same claims. From there, Padilla shifted to the Constitution, specifically the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause. It was a straightforward test. Could Bondi explain what it says? Her reply, "I'm not here to do your homework," landed with a thud. While she eventually acknowledged that it addressed birthright citizenship, she stopped short of affirming it as settled law, instead saying she would study the matter if confirmed. For Padilla, that hesitation was alarming. Birthright citizenship is a cornerstone of American constitutional law, and a reluctance to commit to its defense could signal vulnerability to political pressure. Then came one of the most charged moments. Padilla asked whether she agreed with the statement that immigrants were poisoning the blood of our country. Bondi didn't give an immediate answer. Instead, she talked about her great-grandparents emigrating from Sicily. Eventually she said no, she did not agree, but the delay and detour had already left an impression. In moments like these, clarity is power, and hesitation risks being seen as a lack of moral conviction. Padilla then pressed her on reproductive rights. As Florida's Attorney General, Bondi had defended restrictive abortion laws, including mandatory waiting periods and parental consent requirements. At the federal level, she said she would follow U.S. law, but she offered no detailed plan on how she would keep her personal views from influencing her decisions. Given the post-Roe landscape, where the Justice Department still plays a key role in defending access to medication abortion and enforcing federal protections, her vague answer left open questions about how she would approach such cases. The conversation then turned to gun violence, an issue that has touched nearly every community in the country. Padilla acknowledged that Bondi had supported certain gun safety measures in Florida after the Parkland school shooting, such as raising the minimum age for firearm purchases and implementing red flag laws. He asked how she would advance similar measures nationally. Bondi reaffirmed her support for the Second Amendment and promised to enforce existing laws, but offered no new initiatives. For an issue as urgent and deadly as gun violence, it sounded more like a commitment to the status quo than a plan for change. Across these topics, the 2020 election, the Constitution, immigration, reproductive rights and gun violence, one theme emerged: Bondi's preference for cautious non-committal answers. To some, this signaled discipline and a refusal to be baited into political traps. To others, it looked like a pattern of avoiding hard truths and sidestepping direct accountability. As the questioning wrapped up, Padilla acknowledged the reality: barring a major shift, Bondi was very likely to be confirmed. But his closing comments carried a warning. He hoped she would demonstrate the independence and respect for the rule of law that she had promised. The room felt the tension, a mix of inevitability and unease. In the end, this confirmation hearing was about more than a single nominee. It was about what Americans expect from the person leading the Justice Department. Should the Attorney General be a loyalist to the President, or an independent guardian of the law? The answer will shape not just the next 4 years, but the very credibility of the nation's legal system. So now the question is yours. Did Pamela Bondi prove she's ready to defend the Constitution without fear or favor, or did this hearing reveal cracks in the foundation of her independence? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the political moments shaping America's future.